welcome. Many thanks for joining us on the Primetime News, coming to you live from Lagos, Nigeria. I am Anwar Benitia. First, the headlines. Jonathan begs for forgiveness. APC disowns a ministerial list, and on the foreign scene, Egypt hangs 6 convicted militants, and on sports, Djokovic retains Rome Masters title. Now the main news. President Goodluck Jonathan on Sunday held his farewell service at the Presidential Villa Chapel, Abuja. It was praise, worship and thanksgiving galore, had songs of praise rend the air. President Jonathan thanked God for the rare privilege to serve the country at the helm of affairs. He asked for forgiveness from those who may have felt offended by his action in office, saying such actions may have become inevitable.
Definitely one is not perfect. We have done certain things that probably we could have done that way. But we did not do things deliberately. So for those who were offended, it was not deliberate. It was the circumstances of the office. So we also plead that those who should forgive us. We think we have done our best. And that is always one of the reasons why I lost resistance as 3 of that song dedicated to me. That when I do the best I can, and my friends misunderstand, I will know all about me, stand by me. I know that because you can do your best, and your friend will misunderstand you. But it's only God that knows why things go that way. So thank you. Today we are talking about leading. Ordinarily, the 24th would have been the last service here, but that 24th will all go to the Christian Worship Center for the inauguration service. So for me and my wife, this will be the last day of worship.
Wife of the President, Mrs. Patience Jonathan, in her remarks, thanked God for sparing her life all this while. She recalled how she had gone through a series of medical surgery and yet God saw her through. In an interview, the outgoing First Lady urged the Nigerian women to give the incoming First Lady, Aisha Buhari, all the necessary support, while also advising a successor to carry the Nigerian women along for the betterment of the country.
Power belongs to God. That's I and my husband, the first family, that we thank God for keeping us alive till today. And we thank God for Nigerians, especially I, the First Lady. I can't thank the women of Nigeria enough for their support throughout my stay in Villa, throughout my stay as a wife of Vice President to the wife of the President. I thank so much to the Nigerian women. And I'm here to tell them that, well, I'm living in peace, I'm living with good health. I with my family, we are going in good health. That always they should be grateful to God that my doors are wide open for them. That I am living in Abuja. That they should come to my house, I'm always there for them. Anytime they want me, I am there for them. And I am there to make sure and to assist the incoming government and to talk with my sister, Aisha Buhari, my sister, my friend, to make sure that she carried the Nigerian women along, and I hope that she will do so.
Correspondent Rashida Yusuf reports that the Villa Chapel was originally scheduled to be handed over to the Vice President-elect at the service, but the Vice President, Yemi Oshibanjo, was absent. The chaplain of the Villa spoke with State House correspondents.
Simply because of the structure of the leadership now. Actually, we had invited the Vice President-elect, but for one reason or the other, he wasn't able to make it. But there was a representative of his that came. There was one pastor, regional pastor, Emmanuel Ibitayo. He was here to at least to see what goes on. But I'm sure later we will be able to do a proper handover to the
A grand finale of the farewell church service is scheduled for next Sunday, the 24th, at the National Worship Center, Abuja. The All Progressive Congress on Sunday dismissed a smear fiction, a list of ministers being circulated, especially on social media. According to the APC, the party has nothing to do with the said list and urged Nigerians to wait for the authentic one, which will be made public through the appropriate channels. This was contained in a statement signed by the National Publicity Secretary of the APC, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, in Abuja. The APC also cautioned the media against using statements attributing actions to President-elect without clarification. The party urged the media to clarify with the authentic officials of the party and the Buhari campaign organization any issue having to do with the actions of the President-elect in order to avoid presenting falsehood as facts. The party noted that the ongoing transition is a delicate period that columnists with evil intentions could capitalize on to cause disaffection or overheat the polity, and the need for all stakeholders to be extra cautious and put the national interest above all other interests. Meanwhile, the Special Assistant to the Senator, Bukola Saraki, on Media Affairs, Mr. Bankole Omishore, raised a fresh alarm on Sunday over an alleged plan to tarnish Saraki's image by some politicians who are opposed to his emergence as the next Senate President. Omishore said the detractors have started misleading members of the public with false information that the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission had perfected plans to reopen fresh fraud cases against his boss. He insisted that the political enemies who did not mention were always coming up with allegations of financial fraud against Saraki, either whenever he is contesting elections or whenever he exposes the fraudulent activities of powerful individuals using his position as senator. He described as immaterial and belated the latest false information that the EFCC was allegedly planning to reopen fresh fraud cases against the senator. He said relevant authorities have since vindicated Saraki over the case alleged involving him as director of the defunct Societe Generale Bank and the frivolous petition against him on his tenure as Kwara State Governor from 2003 to 2011. And ahead of the May 29 handing over date, an Egyptian social political organization has accused members of the All Progressive Congress APC in Egyptian land of threatening to send members of the People's Democratic Party PDP to exile immediately the president-elect is sworn in. The president of Egyptian Right Group, Benga Fowowe, who spoke in Elisha, Osun State, on the alleged threat, said the APC has set all machinery in motion to intimidate and harass members of the PDP in Egyptian land. Correspondent Abbas Okondeji reports that the said people of Egyptian land are law-abiding citizens and they are ready to ward off any attempt by individuals or groups to infringe on their fundamental human rights. Speaking on the state of the nation, especially as it affects Osun State, the socio-political group called on Osun State Governor Rauf Aregbesola to pay workers' backlog of salaries to alleviate the economic hardship in the state. It also encouraged the PDP at the national level to sheath their sword so that they can form a formidable and robust opposition in the next dispensation.
5% of the PDP members, telling them to move away from the town as from 29th. We want to prove to the whole world that this is what these people are planning to do. Immediately the president-elect is sworn in, and this is our own plan also. In the past we have been running for them, even though including myself. They have attacked my property, they have attacked my business premises, carted away many properties, challenged them. Those who were arrested at that time, they were released. Yes, we have put up a letter, a petition letter to the IG.
And away from that story, the Anambra State Police Command on Sunday debunked media report that a certain restaurant in Awka, the state capital, has been dishing human flesh to unsuspecting members of the public in its menu. According to the report, the police had, on discovery of the restaurant, closed down the place. But in an interview on Sunday, the police public relations officer, Uche Eze, denied such report. The debunked media report also noted that in addition to the human meat menu served by the restaurant, authorities discovered automatic weapons, grenades and cell phones. Top hierarchy and the rank and file of the Security Committee of Nasrullahi Fatih Society of Nigeria, NASFAT, has been advised to constantly update the security strategy in order to provide modern and efficient security befitting of an Islamic society such as NASFAT. The advice was given by the Deputy Commissioner of Police in Lagos State, Lawan Ado, at his 2015 Zonal Command Seminar held in Lagos. Details in this report.
The focus of the two-day seminar, which drew participants from zones across the country, was training and retraining, a strategy for capacity building and development. Delivering lectures at the seminar, the resource persons were unanimous on the need for the officers to constantly appraise their strategies and be focused on the efficiency of the tools and personnel in tackling everyday security challenges. In an interactive forum, the participants exchanged ideas with the resource persons on some of the peculiar security needs of the society. In an interview, the resource persons gave their goodwill messages to NASFAT and admonished the participants to apply the skills and knowledge learned at the seminar.
And this is a very good initiative by NASFAT. I believe all mosques and all especially Islamic organizations must try to encourage security in and around their premises and when doing public gatherings. This is a very good initiative by NASFAT, and I hope other Islamic organizations will emulate what they are doing.
But if they follow what I've just given them, the guideline I've given to them, and they're able to get their training priorities right, I believe to a very large extent the security section of NASFAT will be able to provide adequate security for the people. But they also need to go a step further than what I have said by actually responsibilizing the members as well. It's not only members of the security that will know what they're doing. They need to let other members to know the importance of security.
The main motive of this program is to get our men trained, put them at upright position and allow them to move with the trend of things in terms of security in the country. But zonal commanders who will now go down and allow the training they are receiving here today to permit down to the ranks of all our security personnel.
The head of the security CSP committee of NASFAT, Waheed Ayilara, hinted on the motive for the seminar and his expectations after the program.
And in more stories, a new chief imam of Ibadan has been installed. MITV correspondent Anoluapo Omirinde reports that the installation ceremony held at the main bowl of the Adamasingba Stadium was attended by political figures, including the executive governor of Oyo State, Senator Abiola Ajimobi, and notable Islamic leaders from across the country.
In his remarks shortly after the installation and presentation of staff of office to the new chief imam, Governor Ajimobi spoke in Yoruba language, described the new chief imam of Ibadan land as a fortunate person whom he is proud to share some outstanding qualities with. He urged Muslim faithfuls to repose their confidence in Almighty Allah. The chairman of the occasion and Saraki Musulmi of Yoruba land, Alhaji Yekini Adiojo, who presented the new chief imam to the gathering, called on him to add value to the legacies of his predecessors by improving on it.
May I seize this occasion to call on the new chief imam, Sheikh Dalil to have value to the lesson drawn for the progressive and peaceful culture of the preaching of his predecessors.
Earlier, In a short sermon, Fadilat Sheikh Habib Al-Alori noted that an individual must possess leadership qualities before he can be chosen as an imam, expressing belief that Sheikh Abdul Ghani Agbotomokekere will never be found wanting. The governor at the event also presented the key of a brand new undercar to the new chief imam, chairman of the planning committee for the occasion, and the host described the event as an historic one.
I'm extremely, very happy. And I thank God that we did not even expect this amount of success, this level of success. This is really fantastic.
This is the first imam we have in Ibadan without any rancor or going to court or anything. We should thank God for this. This Baba is very lucky. After 75 years that his father has given imam to someone else, he now became the chief imam of Ibadan. So we should be patient in anything we do in life.
Sheikh Abdul Ghani Agbotomokekere is the 18th chief imam of Ibadan land in Ibadan. Anuluakbo Moride, MITV News.
If you're just joining us, this is MITV Primetime News. Up next is Foreign Stories. Stay with us. Welcome back. Egypt has executed 6 men convicted of carrying out an attack on soldiers last year. The 6 men who were hung were accused of being members of militant group Sinai Province, which has pledged allegiance to Islamic State, IS. They were found guilty of killing of 2 officers during a gunfight in March 2014. However, right groups had called for a retrial for the 6 men, arguing that the court process was flawed. Human Rights Watch and Amnesty International said that 3 of the men were in custody at that time and could not have carried out the attack in Arab Shakaz, a village north of Cairo. Amnesty described the men's trial as grossly unfair and said men were tortured into confessing to the charges. Fighters from the Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant ISIL group have overrun one of the last remaining districts held by government forces in the Iraqi city of Ramada. Iraqi special forces were reported to be fleeing the city on Sunday as the armed group succeeded in breaching their last holdout. The armed group had earlier made significant gains in its battle to control Ramadi, besieging the army base and killing 100 soldiers in multiple suicide car bomb attacks. Reports say government officials had requested reinforcements from Shia factions in response to the ISIL advance, a move that could provoke opposition from the government's Sunni tribal allies. The involvement of Shia militants has been condemned by leading tribal figure Sheikh Ali al-Hatim, who said it will be considered an Iranian occupation. And in more foreign stories, migrants rescued from a sinking boat off Indonesia say about 100 people died after a fight broke out over the last remaining food. 3 men separately said people were stabbed, hung, or thrown overboard. The 700 rescued migrants from Myanmar and Bangladesh have been processed by the Indonesian authorities. Thousands of migrants are estimated to be adrift in Southeast Asian waters, denied permission to land. And finally, on the foreign scene, tens of thousands of protesters in the Macedonian capital, Skopje, are demanding the resignation of long-serving Prime Minister Nikola Gruevski. The rally follows a release by the opposition of covert recordings which appear to show ministers plotting vote rigging and the cover-up of a murder. Adding to the political instability, last weekend, 8 people, police officers and 14 ethnic Albanian fighters were killed in clashes in the city of Komenovo. The protesters hold a sign that say Prime Minister should resign. We'll take another short break. When we come back, Sport Stories. Stay with us. Welcome to the sports segment. Manchester United missed the chance to move above Arsenal into third place in the Premier League as defender Tyler Blackett scored a late own goal. Blackett deflected Theo Walker's cross beyond debutant keeper Victor Valdez as a second-half substitute for the injured David De Gea. Andy Herrera had volleyed United into the lead from Ashley Young's cross. But Arsenal improved after a poor first half with Aaron Ramsey denied by fullback Marcos Rojo's challenge. And in more sports stories, Wilfred Bony scored on his return to Swansea as Manchester City secured a place in the Champions League group stages by winning a thriller. Yaya Toure opened the scoring for City with a deflected effort before James Milner slid in as Tyler's second. Gelfi Sekonsin pulled one back just before halftime with a lovely strike, and then Bafetimbi Gomez equalized. But Toure squeezed the second under Lukas Fabianski before substitute Bony rolled in a fourth via the post. The result ensured a top 3 Premier League finish for Manchester City, but put Europe qualification beyond 8th place Swansea. And in tennis, world number 1 Novak Djokovic continued his domination of men's tennis with a 6-4, 6-3 win over Roger Federer to win the Italian Open final. The pair went toe-to-toe in the opening set, but Serbia's Djokovic and the Swiss player never recovered from that. Djokovic soon set up 2 match points and sealed his 4th Rome title when Federer's fourth hand went wide. It makes it 22 consecutive wins for the Serb, and he will go into the French Open, which starts next Monday, in confident mood. And finally, in female tennis, in the female category, Russian third seed Maria Sharapova came from a set down to beat Spain's Carla Suarez Navarro 4-6, 7-5, 6-1. And a third Italian Open title. Suarez Navarro, the world number 10, battled hard in the first 2 sets, but ran out of energy in the decider. Her best chance came at 5-5 in the second set, but Sharapova finished the set with 8 straight points. The Russian capitalized on her opponent's weakness in the third set as she swept to a 35th career crown. Sharapova, who will be second seed for the French Open, which starts on 24th May, broke Suarez Navarro in the 8th game of the second set for a 5-3 lead, and after going on to hand her opponent 3 break points in the next game, she eventually recovered to level the match. That's our news, but before we go, a recap of the top stories. President Goodluck Jonathan has asked for forgiveness from those who may have felt offended by his actions in office, saying such actions may have been inevitable. We also told you that the All Progressive Congress APC on Sunday has dismissed as mere fiction a list of ministers being circulated, especially on social media. And on the foreign scene, Egypt has executed 6 men convicted of carrying out an attack on soldiers last year. And in sports, we did tell you that world number 1 Novak Djokovic continued his domination of men's tennis with a 6-4, 6-3 win over Roger Federer to win the Italian Open final. That's our news tonight, but before we go, as usual, we want you to know that you can watch us live on our website, www.mitvonline.tv, or on our Facebook page, www.facebook.com/mitvng, by clicking on the Welcome tab. For BlackBerry, Android, and other mobile devices, you can download our app, MITV Star FM, on their respective stores, or tweet us at MITV.